Welcome localites. আজি আমাৰ লগত আছে Mr. Kaushik Barua. Mr. Kaushik has founded the Assam Elephant Foundation that strives and works for elephant conservation, research, and humane elephant and wildlife management. Also, আজি মোৰ লগত আছে Siddhant, my dear friend and colleague. Siddhant has worked as a volunteer. He was working in Manas as working with camera trapping tigers and satellite monitoring. So yeah, let's begin. No?
Yeah, let's begin.
So we want to know how you ended up doing what you do.
Well, when I grew up in Guwahatis of 70s and 80s. Guwahati was still a town, and it's not the total concrete, jungle that you see today. And I grew up in a family where we used to have elephants and dogs. So there were times. I mean, Zoo Road, and Zoo Road still has water when gets waterlogged when there are torrential rains. Waterlogging also used to happen in 70s and 80s, and I still remember that I used to go to school on a bus, and many a times actually I went from my home to the bus station on an elephant when the roads were actually filled up with water. And there's something in of a human nature thing. Once you are exposed to one particular condition over and over again, it gets imprinted. You start thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, dogs were there, elephants were there, and, slowly I started thinking about it, and one fine day, as I grew up and I just got out of college and I started working with my dad, elephants were still there. So, I thought, hey, why don't I do something for them? These are for me, my elephants are an extension of my family. I treat them as pets. They are my family. Like, I have my parents, my wife, my daughter, my mother, and then elephants and dogs are part of the family. So I thought like this is one particular family member or members who's going down, and when you are in a family and a member goes down, the other rest of the family, they get together and try to actually boost up that member or do something about it. So I took it on myself. Fine, I'm going to do something about these elephants, and I guess that's where it started.
Wow, interesting. So আমাৰ কৌশিক ছাৰৰ পৰা মই গম পালোঁ that your father and your family was deep into construction business and as such. So were they okay with you choosing something that that normal people do not normally choose as a career and something that they want to do for the rest of their lives?
Look, I also helped out my dad in construction, but we made Assam Valley School. The Assam Valley School, which is there.
Okay, so Assam Valley School is
No, it was constructed by us.
Okay.
So when I was constructing the school, and I used to go go there for inspection and also to supervise. Elephants used to visit that area, and that added to it. Wherever, since my family was into construction, and these construction activities took place 90% of the time in elephant areas. So the interest kept on growing, and one fine day I realized that I am more cut to these sort of things than probably construction, and thank God I realized, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I also worked as a civil engineer for a very short while before.
See, it's where you find your mojo.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So elephants moving so well. So I was in the field for some time. Because I thought let's go to all the forests and try. So I send mails to all scientists working in those fields. I went to Jim Corbett Park to do a tiger project and stuff. So the scientist there was saying me like elephants as a family, when they moved for migrate, they follow the same route year after year after year. I found really interesting.
Yeah, it's like elephants. As they are herd animals. They actually stay together and move together, and they actually move through designated passages.
Okay.
Even when they're moving inside a habitat, or maybe they're going from one habitat to another habitat, the passage between two habits known as corridor will follow the same corridor, and and even in same habitat, if they want to move from say point A to point B within that particular habitat, they'll stick to routes which their forefathers had actually carved out.
Interesting. Just like human beings, no?
Yes, but on a very large scale.
On a large scale, yeah. So I find this very interesting. I have my small nieces and cousins. So whenever they see cartoons and pictures, I don't know if this is true, but I always find, when we are smaller, we are always attracted to. We connect more with elephants than with other animals and pictures of animals that we see. Is there something like?
First thing you have to understand that in India, the elephant has a very big role.
Oh
in terms of culture, in terms of mythology, heritage, and even on religious ground in Indonesia. And Disney, Disney does have a character known as Dumbo.
Dumbo, yeah. I didn't see the movie recently.
Yeah, I mean, so you see, elephants have actually played. Elephants have had a relationship with man since time immemorial, and that probably has, especially in India, in a country like India, in context to elephants, we are more exposed to mythological, religious, and cultural stuff to do with elephants, and probably that's why our affinity towards anything that is elephant when we are young and as we grow up is there.
Yeah, also I think expressions are more like human beings. And
Hati bilak social animal. Yeah, social animal. Family group of thaki. We say hati jat. And so right, I mean, matter of fact, every animal actually has expression. But if you are attentive enough, you're observant enough, every hati, because they're huge, and the head is huge, they have a trunk, so any muscle movement, it has over a lack of muscles on the front part. So any movement, is a different expression. It's like how we smile, we eat, every is a different expression.
Exactly.
So an elephant tends to give out a different expression every second.
Which we find very
which as even as somebody like who's worked with elephants for a prolonged period of time, we never lose interest of watching elephants. I mean, kita amar happy na polai.
So I was going through some Wikipedia articles, and I found a few stories that I got to read there. There's one particular story that stood out, like the ritual, elephant ritual after some of their family members die. Is it something that happens universally, or is it only localized to African elephants? I've read some stories that hati mori goise, and then they put start putting twigs and they stand there, mourn there for 2 days, 3 days.
Look, social animal, it's a social animal. They will actually any animal, be it a human or be it a dog, they mourn a loss. Even God, যদি কুকুর আছে কোনোবা গম পাব যদি ঘৰত দুটা কুকুৰ থাকে এটা কুকুৰ যদি কিবা কাৰণত নোহোৱা হৈ যায় বেলেগটো এফেক্ট হয়. So that's something that they show loss to হেৰিটো সিহঁতৰ যিটো bereavement to show কৰে. হাতীও সেনেকুৱা হয়. হাতী আৰু কি হয় এটা হাৰ্ডত থাকে হাতীৰ যিটো হাৰ্ড এইটো এটা matriarchal society. It's led by the bull, the female the matriarch, the old cow. আৰু তাৰ লগত it's a hierarchy. You have the second round females, and then you have the new females, babies.
So how does it work actually? In a herd of elephants, the head is the female. Okay. So are there males who are?
Look, males would usually the dominant male would remain, but when I say dominant male, is a male who will actually help in reproducing later on. When the time is right and when probably a female comes in. But mota hati usually সৰু গ্ৰুপলৈ গুচি যায় কেতিয়াবা কেতিয়াবা আমি মালজুৰীয়া বুলি কৈ দুটা মতা হাতী থাকে সিহঁতৰ কোনোবা গৈ পেলাই ধৰা হাতীৰো কি হয় মানে কেতিয়াবা সিহঁতে গ্ৰুপ চাব গ্ৰুপ বনাই থাকে সেইবিলাকৰ লগত সিহঁতে ইণ্টাৰলাইন হৈ যাব আৰু
so is the group like more like যেনেকে মই আছো সিদ্ধান্ত আছে অদিপ্ত আছে you are there so is it a group of unrelated males or is it
it can be unrelated males and the hierarchy has to be made. Elephants are very regimental. The hierarchy has to be there নহলে কি হয় দুটা যদি মোটা হাতী থাকে of same age the dominant male to এই যেটো second male আছে তাক খেদি উলাই দিব কিন্তু if the second male is towing the line he might tolerate and দুটা আমি দুটা হাতী একেলগে ৰাখিলে আমি তিনটালৈকে দেখি একেলগে গ্ৰুপ কৰিবলৈ ঘূৰি থাকিব
so like a male when it like reaches a age of like suppose a tender like young reproducible age and he gets
a dominant bull will be if there are no bulls in that herd there are herds which we have seen that there are very young bulls so the dominant bull would be somewhere around 25 because by that time they're capable of mating and Kidaba is as old as 50-55 huge elephants so he won't pagira kheli kaja kore khela kheli
so tell me a few stories about your adventures with elephants
well I'll my adventures with elephants mostly I'll tell you two.
Okay.
The most memorable one is not when I started. One was actually around 2004. I went to South Africa to learn actually new methods of elephant capture for translocation. Translocation is when you carry an animal from one place to another, and from the host to the recipient. Reason being probably that the area which is the recipient has lesser elephants or has no elephants. I mean I'm just talking context of elephants but can for other animals too like we are translocated rhinos in Assam too so there was a time there was a private South Africa had both private park ase and those days I had the privilege of working with some of the best veterinarians out there Do Gobler আছিল তাৰপিছত JJ Van Atlna আছিল তাৰপিছত brothers আছিল সিহঁতৰ নামে brothers surname
হয় নেকি
Peter brothers safari operator আছিল very good friends আছিল তাৰপিছত ডক্টৰ Hank Batchelor আছিল মানে এইবিলাকৰ কাম কৰোঁতে এবাৰ কি হ'ল মই শিকিলোঁ কাম মানে South Africa is like the mecca of capture
okay
like the mecca of capture for scientific purpose not for captivity captivity নিকানে নহয় for মানে হেৰি যেটো আমি আগতে হাতী ধৰি শিকাইছিলো সেইবিলাক কাৰণে নহয় ফৰ কনজাৰভেশ্যন পাৰপাস সাইন্টিফিক পাৰপাস সো আমি মানে মোৰ প্ৰিভিলেজ হ'ল কি আমি পিণ্ডা বুলি অফ ডাৰবান there was this park this is a man made মানে হেৰি national park আছিল national park no it was a মানে wildlife park it's a private park CNC Africa used to own it and pindat ki hol iman bhalke conservation korile hati bari gol kisuman so tate mane was the first time I learned how elephants were the whole process of planning to actual execution eta hati jodi eta jagar upora aru jagar lujwa lage jabo lage ki kore kiman sundor planning hoy kiman jak jitu store daitto dia thake hi hekini palon kore veterinarians call assistants call there's a capture team call truck drivers everything is so disciplined it's like it's like an assembly line technique tate ki hol mane since I was working with them so last hati too ami he tate eta hati ta mane ami bada kanot surgical contraception koribo boli bhabile because Disney that time was Disney 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 Animal Kingdom that time this was in 2004 June
so Disney has an animal kingdom of their own
Disney has in Florida has a very good one actually very good. And Disney is not of mine so they were actually trying out they had done this thing like they had performed surgical contraception on an African elephant as a birth control measure in a controlled environment so they wanted to do it in the field so boy gulu So I Pindar asilu ratipa uthilu. So I was put on a helicopter and I was, it was the first time I actually darted in South Africa.
From the air, like
From the air, from the helicopter. And I was take a dart quad is sobai koribo pare alaman hikile ko down hoy. I was
Get the
trained out
mic a
there.
little bit closer to
No, I was trained out there, so the process. That's why we had Hati kita Richard Branson or you know Richard Branson.
Yeah.
Richard Branson or approximately 1200 plus kilometer from Durban. Kruger also he had Sabi Sands Bully, the private game reserves.
So private game reserve is what? Is it
Private game reserves are
Hunting
actually
up.
no, these are not hunting up. I mean, these Pinda and these are basically concessions, land concessions, used land concessions which have been given to these parties. Like Richard Branson has some sense. Tate hiyote mane kore ki it's like how you go to Kruger, how many na Kaziranga asi hotoro private parks. But huge private parks.
Okay.
Huge.
massive.
Massive. It runs into a few thousand of kilometers. So straight kilometers. So anyway, I mean Sota Hati tranquilize story. এখন মস্ত ডাঙৰ স্ক্যানিয়া ট্ৰাকৰ trailer and these are special trailers. In one truck. No, these are special, these are we actually moved a subgroup, female, two males and calves. We moved them. Because Pindar Hati besi hoi goy asil and it was actually, damaging the ecology of affecting rather the ecology of Pindar. So Pindar, imagine we have a huge truck, Scania trucks, those military trucks where thake tar pisot specially built container for elephants. The catch to Africa. So ami Sota Hati mane a compartment wise ako uporot truck khonor air conditioning system to maintain the temperature and all plus video camera lagwa ase and this is 2004 and more gari cabin bohi bulai. Gari cabin is like Scania truck or gari cabin is like a fighter plane of see everything. It's like a aircraft cockpit. It works. Our piston trailer, I cannot imagine what can be in the trailer. The helicopter that we were using was actually put on the trailer.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot to count. It's probably, it's huge. I mean, one of the largest trailers that I had seen. Aru hemi hanekwa Pindar pura we drove to Sabi Sands rati palu. Rati pai pelai hati kita ami rati era nai rati pa veterinary inspection episode hati kita veterinary actually light dose of sedative so that the elephants will get excited. So lahe ka ami hati era arambho korilu. Slowly the sedatives were reversed and we had one happy family. And I found it very interesting because look at the entourage. You have a truck,
Wow.
6 elephants, you have escort, helicopter on one of the trailers. That was a different experience. I learned a lot. I learned actually, capture management. So capture when I also do a lot of large rescue, like rescue of elephants and rhinos. Into capture one component, a rescue one component, So tate mane more is of experience or exposure to whole. I can get experience gain koilo. It has helped me a lot in planning even rescue because in the end of the day, rescue is what at an animal at a distressed position he ase. Tak tar pra moi safely tak moi prothome tak secure koribo lagibo, tak restrain koribo lagibo, then evacuate koribo lagibo. Even principles of capture are more or less same. So it has helped me a lot in planning this thing.
So recently there was
I was there.
What happened actually?
That's my
Guwahati
that's
hoisil ki actually.
That's the second experience for kobole ulai asil. A hati to jitu Maharaj boli sobe koi asil no. Itu ena Punjabari pa ulai ahile. A hati to kintu prothome ulaisil. Moi kyo ulaisil kele ulaisil la pisot jam. Mane ulaisil মোৰ experience to কথা কম. এই হাতিটো প্ৰথমে ওলাইছিল in the month of August to July, 2018, mid-August. You have heard of a news that এনেকা হাতি এটা খুচকাৰি flyover পৰা গৈ পেলাই এনেকা আমাৰ
শুনিছিলো
so he lokora he eketa hati de. So that was my first encounter with আৰু মই ৰাতিপুৱা এনেকৈ 4টা বজাত তেতিয়া DFO গুৱাহাটী ৱাইল্ড লাইফ ডিভিজন প্ৰদীপ্ত বৰুৱা আছিল আমাৰ লগত খুবেই ভাল আমি একেলগে বহুত কাম কৰা তেখেতৰ যথেষ্ট মানে ইণ্টেলিজেণ্ট আৰু এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চড অফিচাৰ চ' তেখেতে মোক ফোন কৰিলে কি ৰাতিপুৱা এৰাউণ্ড 5টামান বজাত চ' মই ফোনটো ধৰিলোঁ কি হ'ল মই ককাইদেউ বুলি মাতা ধৰণে ককাইদেউ কি হ'ল বোলে এই হাতীটো ওলালে নহয় মই কৈছোঁ মই কাইলৈ টিভিত দেখিছোঁ হাতীটো বোলে মই এইটো শুনিব খেদি পঠাব নোৱাৰিলে নেকি তো মই ভাবিছিলোঁ পাঞ্জাবাৰীৰ পৰা আমাৰ ফৰেষ্টৰ কেম্প এটাও আছে পাঞ্জাবাৰীৰ পৰা বতাহগুলি গুৱাহাটী পাব্লিক স্কুল হৈ আহে চ' মই ভাবিলোঁ যদি পাঞ্জাবাৰীৰ পৰা ওলাই আহিছে আমাৰ ফৰেষ্টৰ মানুহকেইটা বোধহয় দে উড ছাকচিড ইন পুছিং ইট বেক টু দি ফৰেষ্ট আনফৰ্চুনেটলি দে কুডন্ট এণ্ড দি এলিফেণ্ট probably thought otherwise that more puri mein yeah.
So was it a male elephant or
a male elephant
okay. Maybe
around his 19 20 years
young. Maybe he just got out of his herd or something like that.
I'll come to that.
Okay.
So what happened was he ulai episode ৰাতিপুৱা চাৰিটামান বজাত মোক ক'লে কি ৰাতিপুৱা 5টামান বজাত মোক ফোন কৰে এনেকৈ হাতীটো ওলাইছে কিন্তু সি কালি লখৰা জংঘলৰ ভিতৰত সোমাই গ'ল তাৰপিছত উই হেভ টু বি ৰেডি কিবা থাকিলে চ' ইতিমধ্যে তেতিয়া লখৰাৰ মানে চাউথ গুৱাহাটী ৰেঞ্জ অফিচাৰ আছিল আপোনাৰ বিনোদ পায়েং বুলি আনাদাৰ এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চড অফিচাৰ চ' মই দাদা বুলি বিনোদ দা কি হ'ল এই নহয় বোলে বৰুৱা হাতীটোতো মোৰ ইয়াৰ পৰা লখৰা মানে তেখেতৰ লখৰা ৰেঞ্জটো য'ত আছে সিপিনে গ'লে কিন্তু মানে গাৰোভাঙা ফৰেষ্টটো পায় মানে গড়ভাঙালৈ গুচি গ'ল চ' মই আই ট'ল্ড হিম লুক উই হেভ টু বি কেয়াৰফুল গড়ভাঙালৈ গুচি হয় কিন্তু তাৰ ওলাই অহা চান্স মেক্সিমাম আছে বিকজ দেট ইজ নট হিজ হোম গ্ৰাউণ্ড হি ইজ বেচিকেলি ষ্ট্ৰেট আউট এণ্ড হি ইজ গোইং টু হোম ইন এলিফেণ্ট অল এনিমেলছ আমাৰ যেনেকৈ আমি ঘৰৰ পৰা মুখ কৰাৰ লগে লগে আমাৰ স্পীড বাঢ়ি যায় হ'বই চ' সেইদিনাখন গ'ল এণ্ড আই ৱাজ টকিং টু মাই ৱাইফ এণ্ড কিড আই ছেড দিছ এলিফেণ্ট হাজ কাম ডাউন come out of Amsong thing and go from one end to another. It's gone from one elephant territory to another elephant territory. ठीक है so what I had to say better watch out. So Akko eke history piece next day morning I again get a call this time around 6:30 Vinod Payeng the range officer Lokhara tells me then মোক OCP phone কৰিছে কৌশিক তাৰমানে গড়চুক থানাৰ যিটো OC আছে তেখেতে ফোন কৰিছে ফোন কৰি মানে তেখেতে বেচা 90 আছিল 90 চাহ খাই আছে কৈছে মোৰ অফিচৰ পিছপিনে হাতী দেখা কি সম্ভাৱনা আছে You're buying the piece of, he started doing 1+1 and started leading the incident. He could say, "Sir, সাধাৰণতে কিন্তু সম্ভাৱনা নাই হিপিনে লেপাৰ্ড আহা হে বেছি গণনগৰ হিৰৰ ট্ৰেক কৰি লেপাৰ্ড আহা হে মানে লেপাৰ্ড সাইড পৰা হে মানে সম্ভাৱনা বেছি আছে কিন্তু এইটো যদি সিচুৱেশ্যন হৈছে মানে সম্ভাৱনা আছে কিন্তু এটা হাতী আমাৰ ইপিনে ওলাইছে কালি এনেকা আমচৰৰ পৰা আমাৰ ইপিনে ওলাইছে কি মোষ্ট প্ৰবলি ওলাই আছে কি যদি ওলাই আছে তেতিয়াহ'লে আপুনি সেইটো হাতীকে দেখিছে তো সেইটো হাতী দেখিছে সম্ভাৱনা আছে আপুনি জলদি আহক হাতীটো মোৰ ইয়াতে বহি পেলাই মোৰ কলচলবিলাক ভাঙি খাই আছে ন কলচল পিছপিনে কলচল হেৰি আছে আচ্ছা তাক যেতিয়া বংকৱাল চাহাব চিফ কনজাৰভেটৰ অফ যেতিয়া বংকৱাল চাহাব PCC অফ ৱাইল্ড লাইফ আৰু চিফ ৱাইল্ড লাইফ ৱাৰ্ডেন আছিল বাসু চাহাবো আছিল তেতিয়া হেড অফ ফৰেষ্ট ফ'ৰ্চ আমি সবে মিলি প্লেন চেণ্ড কৰি তাক আৰু আমি গোটা হেৰিতে ধৰিলোঁ তাক মানে এই বৰাগাঁৱখিনিতে ধৰিলোঁ আপোনালোকে সব পিকচাৰ এটা আহিছে হি ৱাজ ক্ৰছিং দি ৰোড অন zebra crossing and the Assam police also use that photograph to say that even animals use zebra crossings so I found the incident very funny because this elephant had no reason to actually stray out of his to that extent through urban area he একদম হাতীগাঁৱৰ মাজৰ ৰাস্তা গলি চলি একদম ধুনীয়াকৈ গৈছে মানে মোৰ বন্ধুবিলাকে পিছত মোক ফোন কৰি কৈছে আমাৰ ইয়াৰ পৰা হাতী যোৱাৰ সম্ভাৱনা কি আছে আৰু গুৱাহাটীত এনেও হাতী ঘূৰি থাকে তো কিছুমান ঘৰচীয়া হাতী ঘূৰি থাকে ঘৰচীয়া হাতী মই কৈছোঁ ৰাতি 2-3টা বজাত কোনো ঘৰচীয়া হাতী ঘূৰা এটা কোনো কাৰণ নাই so you must have seen that same elephant that's come out so তাক আমি আকৌ repatriate কৰিলোঁ we sent him back to Amsong
so how do you
we tranquilized him then we used we picked him up to a plane and we put him on a truck and we sent him but knowing is like something told me that this is not the last of what my encounter with you are lucky like আৰু হাতীটো কি হৈছিল হাতীটো actions বিলাক মানে of a slightly milder form মানে is a full elephant and so he had যিকোনো কাম কৰি দিব পাৰিলে but he was not it seemed that he was attuned to humans around him So anyway, that thoi dia pisot ami oloman mane bostuto situation to ami oloman mane bhabilo ki postpone kora jay. So then we found out that this is an elephant which is from this Amchong. Ibata karanot tinta hati eta group military campus or getor osorte thake hore tinta hati. So tare itu eta ulai ahe. Tar pisoto hi ke bahut bar joa 30 tarikh ako hi ulale. So ulai to you know he GS road style bana. Moro dekhi pela is the same elephant. And I'm like, oh God, he to ako digdari koribo. Mane it is an elephant, it's a wild elephant, no? We do not know what its be. It's a male elephant. So jimane docile no hok. We do not know what the behavior. You can't read an elephant just like that.
Yeah.
You know.
True.
But yes, because I had handled him before, I was exposed to him before. You know, moi okoman tar bebohar to, but tar soitto to okoman gom paisilu. So at a safe distance rakhi kisuman calculated risk ami loi, ami forester manhu. Police are the local army bahini. We got a lot of support from district administration. Police was solid support from the police. Ami tak phirai mane back turn ei bhagor rapa ami turn kori bla tak loi jaboloi ami সম্ভাৱনা হলো আমি সফল হলো কিন্তু কি হল এই শ্রীনগর পড়ার লগে লগে এটা উস্তাদে কইলে কি যে ব্যারিকেড খন তাতে যোনখন আমি দি লাগিছিল কি ব্যারিকেড খন ভাল ভাবে গুছাই দিলে কি হাইবে শ্রীনগর অফ কমাই কমাই গৈ শ্রীনগর কাটেন উপর বিকজ but the people were very cooperative এজন মানুহ ঘৰ সোমালে ভাল ভাঙিলে বেলেগ এটা মানুহ ঘৰ সোমালে তাৰপিছত আমি হাৰিটো দিনাখন আমি কলো বলে না আজি বহুত শ্ৰেষ্ঠ এটা কৰো পিছত দিনাখন আমি তাক মানে বস্তুটো ম্যানিপুলেট কৰি ৰাতিপুৱা early morning তাক জুৰ ভিতৰত সোমাই জুত তাক ক্যাপচাৰ কৰিলো
Okay.
Because zoo was more or less a control environment. Damages
no people and pedestrians
collaterals wouldn't have been that high. Zoo মানে যদি আমি হি কোন ভাঙিবলৈ ইমান জায়গা জুৰ open area no
Yeah.
কিন্তু urban area মাজত বাস গুৱাহাটী মাজত নিচিনা area লৈ দেব anyway I mean it was probably our good luck that he জুৰ সোমাবলৈ হি মানে আমি জুৰ সোমাবলৈ হি সংকোচ নকৰিলে সংকোচ মানে কি কৰিব actually মানে hats off to the zoo staff they মানে ৰাতি হেই জুই দূৰৰ পৰা জুই সুই দেখাই হুই হাল্লা কৰি আমি সব আছো জু ডিএফও আছে এইবিলাক খেদি বিলাক সোমালে এনিৱে তাতে হাতি থাকিলে আমি তাক উঠালো আকৌ সেম প্ৰসেস যেটো আমি গোটানগৰৰ পৰা সৰি যেটো এই বৰাগাঁৱৰ পৰা যেটো আমি কৰিলো তাক অগষ্ট 18 তাক একেটা জায়গাতে এৰিছো তাক একেটা জায়গাতে মানে তাক যেটো জন বস্কো ইউনিভাৰ্সিটি পিছপিনা আমচং ৰিজাৰ্ভ আছে তাতে এৰিছো we
what did you do again? Same tranquilize him
same tranquilize. Vets came and tranquilized the elephant. Okay. And after he was settled, we actually secured restraint and we evacuated the elephant. Loi golo loi play era hol trackot jaute ebar khali okoman hi mane agor bar jaute jaute taro loman heri he gese trackor loman hi hilibo arambo kori so I majare track sak lokhe bela agor sisile thilo ani bole mane it was one of the most intriguing 30-minute journey that I ever did actually. Yarpa actually Sonapur is not
that far.
Our head nakon 1st May asil no Labor Day asil.
Okay, so
we had police escort. So 30 minutes of very intriguing 30 interesting 30 minutes. Every time every fraction of a second there was a new development happening with the elephant on the truck. Aro tak mane ami hidnakon himan khini ami drug dependency howa nasilo because agdinakon tak ebar tranquilize kori ako revive koribo laga hol because we could not evacuate him from that area so that tak ami aro free access free movement or karone ami tak dibo karone tak etu koilu tak eilu era pisot আমি এক তাৰিখে এলো আকৌ সেই যোৱা বুধবাৰে হি আকৌ ওলাই আহিছিল ওলাই আহি পেলাই আকৌ এই পাঞ্জাবাৰী পাওঁ হৈছে তাৰপিছত ফৰেষ্টৰ মানুহবিলাক মিলাই খেদি দিলে so what the forest department did this time was we radio collared the elephant.
Okay,
what did you do?
We radio collared the elephant. There is radio collar.
Acha. Okay.
It's a transmitter actually.
Okay.
So we basically it's not a radio collar but this is more of a GSM GPS GPS GSM collar. It's satellite telemetry replace hole. So this I mean it's still still in the initial stages. I mean kisuman bostu aru modalities kisuman mane ami workout kore baki ase. This will actually help us track his movement.
Okay.
And in the long run it will help us manage him and also we can we'll be able to find out the distribution of elephants in Amchang and adjoining areas.
Absolutely.
So that's a scientific process plus it will also help in mitigating the conflict that has arisen in Panjabari area and Namsi because of this particular
So you like hope to see like
maybe like a like a pattern in his movement.
Yeah, basically,
Over
look,
long
you
run.
have a space, so you know the distribution first, where the orphan is. Second thing, we know the connectivity, because elephants do tend to overlap. I said, at a path or coordinate.
Acha.
And second is your elephant area users. Beyond the habitat, also they use certain areas. So we get to know that. That will help us in scientific, derivations and help manage elephant areas better. Plus, for this particular elephant, it will give us a pre-alert, because this elephant moves around in the army campus there.
Yeah, very naughty.
Very naughty. She's a naughty one.
Remember, how I joke was he came looking for hot girls from the city.
Well, he has, I'm sure he has more in his mind right now than this factor, actually. He is somebody, he's very inquisitive, actually. Very, very curious. Very curious, and he's intelligent. He's one of the most intelligent I've come across.
I did a research paper today where they were studying elephants in Cambodia. That's Asian elephants, Ichorati. The entire research
This set of 45 elephants. So half of the elephants were, taken
to Japan and the other half were taken to America. So Guwahati is studying or research says that elephant personality is personality a thing for elephants. So
the entire research was flawed, because they were saying that the elephants who were taken to America, they were more curious, and the elephants who were taken to Japan were more obedient.
No, nothing of that sort. Look, like every human being, all animals are, they're not stereotypes.
Yeah. Absolutely
I mean,
not.
we might have certain stereotype actions and behavior, but that's 10% of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, every individual actually behaves. Even the way you brush your teeth is different. Every individual. Does that. So even elephants are like that,
Yeah.
And every second they are showing a different, if you observe them very carefully, every second they're a different, animal altogether within themselves. So that's something very interesting, actually. And we think we are studying them, but I sometimes, I have a doubt, they are probably reading us.
yeah.
So sometimes they do, English term is entomorphic. It's like animals behaving like humans. Sometimes, they behave in such a human-like,
They do.
situation or human like behavior dekhaba arambho kore, you sometimes get disillusioned. Amar to kida confusion hoy jay.
So I read this book by this scientist. He's like I'm an animal hairy expert. Animal ki koi? The word is, I think it's ethologist. Harry. His name is Harry. Franz de Waal. So the name of the book is "Are We Smart Enough to Know How Smart Animals Are?"
Animals are.
Pretty good book. So he was saying that like the yardsticks we used to say that this animal is smart enough. It's all humans.
The yardsticks, so they are wrong. We can't use human yardsticks to measure how smart an elephant is or how smart a squid. True. So I was reading this blog yesterday where they were saying some wildlife conservation blog. So they say, how similar do animals have to be to humans to consider killing them as murder?
They were saying that.
Kihoy, any animal, even dogs, like I said, I have dogs in the house. At one point of time, if dogs are domesticated, of course, they actually interpret human action.
They do, yeah.
Emotions.
Even our faces would be
Even
that's why it's
when I'm with my elephant, they can read me. They constantly actually assessing me. It should be the other way around actually, and they know certain habits. No, certain things are conditioned into them. Like if my pickup truck, if I drive on the pickup truck, they exactly know that there is food at the back. So if they hear my voice, they'll come running. But that's imprinting. Kintu এটা বস্তু সদায় গম পাওঁ গাড়ীখন যেতিয়া ওলাই লৈ যাম সদায় যেতিয়া সিহঁতক এৰি থৈ আহিম সদায় এৰাৰ আগত গৈ পেলাই I'll give them at least one banana. So they actually know that. That is something they relate to. Here they see actions, but that is something they relate to. They say no, last time I dibo no. So they they understand. They understand. How they understand, it's a bit complex, but they do understand.
So elephant domestication বস্তুটো ইয়াতে মানে start কেনেকে হ'ল আপোনাৰ I mean are there a breed of elephants which has been domesticated generation after generation or does every elephant has a relative who is wild তেনেকুৱা কিবা বস্তু হয় নেকি because if they have
every elephant in captivity domestic word to actually use for thik no hobo
yeah absolutely
bearing the the cattle and the
dogs and all that
and the horse actually wild horse and domestic horses elephants can never be domesticated. This is something which as an owner, as somebody who has grown up with elephants, I have noticed something. They never fully. They are in captivity. They are under a situation where you are controlling them. But it is controlling them is through training. This controlling them is
routine.
Through processes, through routine. This is not something like a cow or
just give them food and they're done. You don't know how.
It's not like a dog. Dogs, you have puppies and you start giving them food, is done. An elephant, if an elephant is born in captivity, say you have a captive elephant pair and they have an offspring, that elephant needs to be trained.
True.
You can never. I mean, it can kill. It's not like a horse. A horse also needs to be trained, but at least a fowl, a horse fowl, is manageable. Elephant is not that. You need to actually, people don't agree about this term, but there is some amount of human dominance that has to be there to ensure that the elephant is trained.
True. So I was watching this documentary, Love and Bananas. Have you?
No.
Watching basically, it's a recent one, 2018, right? I think there's I don't know if you know Lake some.
Lake is the lady who owns
yes
Elephant Nature Park.
In Chiang Mai. So it's her entire journey of her freeing and kept elephant in captivity. After the initial 10-15 minutes of the documentary goes in detail about how the trekking camp or wild elephant
like I said, you just missed it actually. First thing is, it's in a captivity situation. So, we in mythology, like we do not know. I mean, whatever we know today about our ancestors, about things that have happened, about history, is through archives, through chronological, writings and stuff like that. Right? So, the first records, like if you go into 1700s, the first records of that was a time when actually the world opened up. Before that, nobody knew which was where was what. So only around the 1700s, maps were made, cartographers came in. Maps were made before also, but accurate maps. They were accurate depiction of humans, animals, birds, land. If you go by those records, we have one of the oldest history of dominating and capturing other. That's the easiest for those days. Capturing and training elephants for use. And Assam did have a history of the Ahom kings also keeping huge elephant stables. Hati amar yate kisuman tribe asil. If you go by Heri, amar kisuman tribe in Moran bilak, Motor bilak, Sinfo bilak, they always had, there were records where, it says that, they used to keep elephants, they had elephants, like missing people, they had elephants. Plains people like us, after the Ahom kings came out, we did not, Assam before the Ahoms came, was scattered. It's as, for whatever reason, good or bad, but when the Ahoms came in, there was some sort of system. Unification and systems, a community, that system, So, if you go back to that history, yes, definitely, I can tell you about history of around 1890s till today of my family. My great grandfather, had elephants. Now, where he had elephants, how he had elephants, I cannot say. I was not born. None of us were. But there were records which said that he had elephants, and then his son had elephants. Then, my grandfather. That means it would be my paternal, grandmother's brother had elephant. So that's, and I asked my father. So that's where you actually relate to history and you put pieces together. So Assam did have elephants from 1700. There are records of elephants in 1700 onwards, and 2 books were written actually on elephants. One was the famous book known as Hasti Vidyanama, and another one was called Hastra. So these were written in Assam. So from those you can make out the records that around the 1700s. So 1700 onwards, Sukumar Borga wrote that thing. So from Sukumar Borga's record and other documents in the hot rolls, you can actually relate back to a few hundred years. Before that, whatever myths, whatever was cultural, whatever was written about these sort of things, from there. But if you really want to know actual natural history, like natural history, as a natural history actually started from when the colonization took place. So around the mid-1800s or more, there's solid documentation of elephant captures and people having elephants in India. In Assam, special relevance to Assam. Assam was a country where Ashikar was practiced. It is basically how you use losing of elephants. You lasso an elephant and capture it and train it. And Ahom kings had it, and my family, there were many other families who did it. Tom Ramphor's family used to do it. Second generation used to do it. There are people from Lower Assam, like you have Lalji, Goipur, a lot of families. They used to do it. Upper Assam, I was in Jodhar, গাঁৱৰ গোস্বামী আছিল গোলাঘাট তেখেতসকলে হাতী ধৰিছিল তেখেতসকলে হাতী ধৰিছিল খেদা চিকাৰ চকেৰ সোমাই দিয়ে 100 হাতী ধৰে ওচৰত এইবিলাক ব্ৰিটিছবিলাকে টিম্বৰ ফেক্টৰী ঠিক নহয় টিম্বৰ এক্সট্ৰেক্ট কৰিবৰ কাৰণে গৰমাত তেতিয়া ৰঙুন কৰে মজালে তেতিয়া লগায়
So হাতীবিলাকৰ আগতে ধৰি লওক টুৱাৰ্ড ট্ৰান্সপৰ্টেশ্যন অফ টিম্বাৰ এণ্ড হিউমেন বিংছৰ কাৰণে ইউজ কৰিছিল চ' ৰাইট নাও অসমত ডমেষ্টিক এলিফেণ্ট স্পেচিয়েলি what kind of industry they are engaged in?
Is the same thing, transportation of timber?
No, look, Supreme Court has, I think, 93 there was a Supreme Court ban. I think it was 93. I think there was a Supreme Court ban in terms of restriction that you cannot extract timber like this unless you have a proper afforestation plan or not. So many of Assam, 90% of Assam's elephant were actually used to extract timber, and 10% were used to actually catch elephants.
Oh,
Timber
okay.
industry supply globally, and a few of them were actually kept like that. How my dad used to keep.
So catch elephants in the sense
Elephants used to catch other elephants.
Okay.
So কি হ'ল এই ব্যানটোৰ পিছত lot of elephants অসমৰ went out of service. The intent of which the owners had actually purchased them got diluted. So many of them sold off their elephants, but few of them did. Like we never use our elephants for commercial purpose. We just kept them like that. So Kisuman, Kerala has demand for elephants. For their religious processions and that. I will go on record, it's a very cruel thing that they do actually. They make elephants walk in caught in a humid situation and they keep males tied together in one constrained place. They can't even move around for days and days. But anyway, that's their thing. But আমাৰ ইয়াতে হাতীবিলাকৰ কাম হোৱা হওঁতে কিছুমান হাতী বেছিভাগ বেলেগ বেলেগ বিহাৰ চিহাৰ কিছুমান হাতী থাকিলে আৰু কিছুমান যিকেইটা থাকিলে তাৰ মাজত ভালে মানে আজিকালি তাৰ কাজিৰঙা টুৰিজমত ইউজ হয় প্লাছ আমি কৰিলোঁ কি আমাৰ হাতীবিলাক আমি একচুৱেলি মোৰ ফেমিলিটো কোনো হাতী হেৰি কৰা নাই আমি কোনো এটা বিজনেছ কৰা নাই ফৰ আছ part of an extended family. So we used to always use elephants to drive wild elephants when they used to come into paddy fields slowly. So
is the term for that flying squad will look at
actually Indonesian term. Actually, আমি expedition team ADS elephant expedition team, EDS elephant expedition squad. West Bengal flying squad, Indonesia flying squad. So সেইবিলাক দিয়ে আমি কি কৰোঁ কি আমাৰ যিবিলাক মানে ঘৰচীয়া যে কেপ্টিভ এলিফেণ্ট যিটো মানে আমি আমাৰ লগত আছে আমি সেইবিলাক দি পেলাই আমি যেতিয়া খেতিত বা হিউমেন ছেটেলমেণ্ট কৰোঁ স্পেচিয়েলি উইণ্টাৰ যেতিয়া হাতী নামি আহে তেতিয়া আমি সেই ঘৰচীয়া হাতী দি কেন ড্ৰাইভ দেম বেক ইনটু দি ফৰেষ্ট ইজ বেচিকেলি আ কনফ্লিক্ট মিটিগেশ্যন প্ৰগ্ৰাম
So, are there any other technical means of scaring away or
look, the best way is why do you need to scare the elephants if you have secured their place at the first place?
Yeah.
You know, for whatever reasons, this space is fragmented হৈ গৈছে, elephant habitat বিলাক size of কমি গৈছে, shrink হৈছে, degraded হৈ গৈছে. So সেইবিলাক কাৰণে হাতী বেছি exposure হৈ আছে, plus climate change হৈ আছে. If you see, it's raining now. It's probably আজি 3 দিন মানৰ পৰাহে ভালকৈ rain হৈছে. চিটিকনি পোৱাৰ নিচিনা হৈছে. So চিটিকনি পৰিলে তো ক'তনো ঘাঁহ চাহ ভালকৈ গজিব ন? So elephant খাব নাপালে ওলাবই. Plus, encroachment is of course a problem. I mean, government is trying, but you know, it's a government now, but it's a mass movement actually. It would, mane, aam jantao lagi bo move korbo kare. Then only you'll get to a solution. You know, like I said, jodi hatir bakhostan khiniye prothome ami secure rakhibo parilu he. Ei condition to agile he, no doubt. Space to komi goi ase. Aru ki hoy kora bostu kodai ko. Human, manhu aru hati biological duta dissimilar species.
Absolutely, I
but
agree.
they have one common requirement.
True.
Very interesting. They have one common requirement, that is land. And which is scarce for both of them.
Yeah.
That's how conflict actually takes place.
So according to you, our ইয়াৰ solution কি হ'ব পাৰে? Because ধৰি লওক আপোনাৰ হাতীৰ কাৰণে আপোনাৰ forest land is reducing. At the same time, we need to survive and
মানুহৰ যিটো সংঘাত হৈ আছে, হাতী মানুহৰ যিটো সংঘাত হৈ আছে, সেইটো আজি এদিনীয়া বস্তু নহয় আজি হেতু কেইবাবাৰৰ বিল্ড আপ হৈ আছে কিছুমান জায়গাত if you go through gazettes even 1930s মানত কিছুমান পকেটছ অফ আসামত এই বস্তুটো আছিল কিন্তু সেই বস্তুটো এটা মেনেজেবল লেভেলত আছিল কিন্তু হিউম্যান আমি মানে মানুহবিলাক অসমৰ মানুহবিলাক কিমান ফ্ৰিঞ্জৰলৈকে ফৰেষ্টৰ ফ্ৰিঞ্জৰলৈকে সিহঁতৰ মানে হেবিটেটটো ঠেলা নাছিল হিউম্যান হেবিটেট যথেষ্ট জংগল অফ দ্য
of course true.
So, জনসংখ্যা বাঢ়িলে তো জানাই তোমালোকে পপুলেশন বাঢ়িলে তো মানুহ স্পেস লাগিব so space basically it is lack of space so এতিয়া আমি কৰিব লাগিব কি যিখিনি আমাৰ জায়গা মানে যিখিনি আমাৰ প্ৰবলেমটো কি আমাৰ কি নাই আমি হেতু লগত কানি থাকো কিটো আছে হেতু how best to
we never appreciate it
something very stupid actually So I feel আমাৰ যিখিনি আছে যেটো গোল হলো কানিটো লাভ নাই যেটো গোল হলো হেতু কাৰণে পিছত গোল বুলি কৈ যদি আমি কানি থাকো যিখিনি আছে তাৰ লগত যাব as we speak probably you know something must have gone so যিখিনি আছে হেখিনি আমি সিকিউৰ কৰি we should keep it secured and there is no 100% solution to it you know it's basically now in certain areas we would not need to learn to live with elephants you know কিছুমান জায়গা respecting each other's space. Elephants also need to understand that. How we make them understand and how we do that is a different thing. But it's basically, like I said, it's a fight for space. And I'm sure solution no one hoy, absolute 100% solution no hobo kintu, you know, at an acceptable level, you know, everything or at a sort of
management
protect bostu at an acceptable level thake na.
Trade off eta thake
trade off. Mane ekini 90% mo jodi bhal korba 10% al trade off. So I think that trade off level can be attained if you do certain things.
If you see they will draw a line on like humans they cannot shut keep on breaking down there.
Yeah, it is the humans people pushing and you know as a conservationist previously I used to think only the elephants do that. I mean only the humans are to be blamed. In certain areas the elephants are also to be
even they come inside
I use the word blame but they are responsible also you know কিছুমান জায়গাত এটা সব জায়গাতে আমি কৈ থাকো হাতী মানুহৰ সংঘাত হৈছে এনক্ৰোচড এৰিয়াত হৈছে হেতু নহয় কিছুমান এনেকা পকেট আছে যত ৰেভিনিউ ল্যান্ড এটো মানুহৰ খেতিয়কৰ নিজৰ মাটি এজেস জেনাৰেশনৰ পৰা থাকে মানে সবৰ পূৰ্বৰ পৰা থাকে লগত মানুহ আছে এই মাটি হেৰ খেতি কৰে তে বছৰৰ খেতি কৰে এবাৰ হাতে খাই দিলে দুবাৰ হাতে খাই তিনবাৰ বেচা কি কৰিব সো কিবলা কিছুমান প্ৰবলেম আছে এটা লাহে লাহে সোশ্যাল প্ৰবলেম কিছুমান আছে আৰু মানুহ এফেক্ট হৈ যায় নহয় এটা যদি গোটেই বছৰ যদি দেখে সিহঁতৰ ধানটো কাৰণে ৰখি থাকে they live off that and Assam predominantly was an agrarian economy so সেইটো অকমান দিগদাৰি হৈ যায় actually
I mean, কি কৰিব মই যদি জংগলৰ ওচৰত যদি মোৰ ঘৰটো আছে সৰুকৈ আৰু যদি it's very easy from our perspective to call as a go find a job or hey do, but for that person in that situation
government চাকৰি
yeah
self employed থাকিব
absolutely
খেতি কৰি থাকিব লাগিব তাৰ মাজত it is not easy but it is not impossible also তাৰ মাজতে give and take কৰি এটা threshold কৰি ৰাখি আৰু take off
so coming to the Indian Rhino Vision 2020 so far what type of
look, the Indian Rhino Vision 2020 is a government of Assam project and initiated actually by primarily by WWF India and other stakeholders. Jot Ohomor rhino সংখ্যা 3,000 rhinos by 2020. Logo. মানে এটা সিদ্ধান্ত ললে আমি 3,000 rhino কৰিম। So তাৰ কাৰণে তো rhino এটা জায়গা থাকিলে নহব rhino মেইন পকেট অসমত কি আছে আমি এটা কাজিৰঙা বুলি কওঁ হয়নে আৰু পবিতৰা আছে মানে অসমত আৰু দুটা জায়গাত rhino আছে মানসত rhino আছে সৰি বুঢ়াচাপৰি লাউখাত rhino আছে ইনফেক্ট ওৰাং অলসো has rhino sorry I forgot ওৰাং so কি হল এটা জায়গাত থাকিলে পটক্ক সংখ্যাটো বাহিৰত প্ৰবলেম হ'ব পাৰে এটা জায়গাত যেটা rhino থাকে খুব বেছি rhino যিকোনো স্পিচিস খুব বেছি থাকে ন তাৰ ইমান বৃদ্ধি নাপায় for various reasons there are a lot of theories biologically also sometimes ups and downs with
so also apunar bemar semar hole mane epidemic hole
we thought the stakeholder IRV thought that IRV was concepted with the idea that ami 3,000 rhino in the wild heri korim so what happened was we identified places first place we identified was Manas had around 90 to 100 of rhinos social political unrest to Gandhi.
That's very interesting.
Social political unrest to Gandhi was also very well. Rhino black post hole here. So we thought that we'll put in rhinos. We put in 18 rhinos. The WTI, Wildlife Trust of India, actually put in their rescued rhinos. So given takes of local Haji Manas has 30 plus rhinos. So that's a good thing. We have restocked an area which had rhinos at once upon a time and rhinos were totally eliminated from there once upon a time and again now we are putting rhinos back there. Plus what is happening is we are thinning the population in Pavitra pa kisuman rhino Pavitra as you know is already a very crowded sanctuary. 16 square kilometers or probably 14 square kilometers of core area you have over 100 rhinos which is rhino home is a size and field. So ketaman rhinos are actually space create kole bhale hoy actually so Kaziranga pa ami ketaman lodu and today we are last census motor we are I think te Ohomot we are around Kaziranga te ase 2,413 rhino 2,400 dhori asun ta so dipine Orangot ase around we have Manas Sobloi we have around 2,750 so hopefully even if we can't make the target of 3,000 rhinos, we'll be very near to it, which is very and what happens, this is called a scientific thing also. You don't keep all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely.
Today there's an outbreak of a deadly disease. You wipe out the entire species. So it's a good thing.
So on that note, I mean, we know that China does some kind of thing called panda diplomacy. So they as a diplomatic gift they give pandas to other countries or whichever their allies is. Can something like that be done with
my
rhinos?
Friend, I personally believe we are so scarce of this community. I mean this particular living form. I mean itia iman mane etu gift koribo parar obosthat nai. Maybe breeding loan and all and within India actually India ki ase Budwa naam kuncha to Budwa actually Budwa is in UP Nepal UP border Budwa national park actually. Budwa actually ki hol Ohomor pa 80s manot rhino loi joa hoisil kisu. পবিত্ৰৰ পৰা লৈ যোৱা হৈছিল কেইটামান মহিলা কেইটামান থাকিলে কিছুমান ৰাইনো চিটৱান আহি পেনে নেপালৰ পৰা আহি গৈছিল বাৰ্ডিয়াটাৰিয়া পৰা আহি গ'ল এইপিনে তো আহি পেলাই এতিয়া ডুডৱাজ গট 40 প্লাছ ৰাইনোছ বেংগলছ গট ৰাইনোছ চ' আগতে একচুৱেলি গ্ৰেটাৰ 100 ৰাইনো আগতে আছিল ইণ্ডিয়ান ৰাইনোচৰাছ আছিল কাৰণ আমি এটা লাষ্ট লেভেল চেঞ্জ কৰিলে গ্ৰেটাৰ 100 ৰাইনো বিকজ ইভেন নেপাল ইজ আৰু এটা আমি অসমৰ ঠিক আছে আমাৰ মান হয় কিন্তু ৰাইনোজ আৰ দেয়াৰ অলছ' ইনভেচিবল চ' আমি মানে এটা I think our emotion set aside, but in the greater interest of the species, What we can think about is actually, exchanging rhinos with these two, places, giving them some of maybe, so that we have a diverse population.
Gene mixing to in a way.
That's one of the things. Our mega herbivores iman potokkoi baru genor jitu issue ahe himan potokkoi nahe. There was a study which Aranyak did, and they found it very interesting that jitu genor diversity to hanghatik ekku heri nohoy.
Okay.
But it's not reached that level that we need to get worried about it. But it's good. Why do we need to reach that level? We have rhinos. Our space out here that we have designated for rhinos is overpopulated. Definitely we can,
True.
give them some,
I
or
agree.
maybe, exchange some and create other satellite populations.
I agree.
Because it same thing like happened with Harry, like Gir. So there was a plan to move some lions from Gir to
They created the human cry. I think finally it goes down.
Okay.
The cats are different. Actually, it's easier to translocate rhinos and contain them than for elephants. It's very difficult to translocate them. Unless you have huge spaces, and the spaces are futuristically far from each other. But cats are different speed. Cats definitely, cats are one of the prey species. They're not very possible. Carnivores. So cat transcription को आपको technically जैसे
So one thing I want to ask is if I want to get into wildlife conservation, so what should a youngster like me or my friends or whatever, what should be the roadmap to being someone like you or?
I mean, look, don't take me as an idol or something like that. It is not something. I mean, everybody, like I said, everybody is a conservationist within his own means and way. And like I said, the first thing is go and plant a tree, watch it grow. That's conservation also. I did not have any formal education in terms of wildlife conservation. It's something which came to me through experience, which I gained through exposure and observation. Where there's a will, there's a way, definitely. I mean, of course, to be a field biologist or to be, scientist, you need education and you need a background actually. But for field intervention, I mean, if you have the will, ways will come out. It's what you want to do. You can start off as volunteer. I mean, if you think that you're going to become a field scientist or a field biologist, a conservation biologist, definitely, you need formal training for that. I can't claim to be a biologist or a scientist because I was not trained in that. But they do also have their, roles to play in that field. Scientists do play a lot of role in conservation. So for that, you need to be a science student, get into zoology or maybe wildlife. I mean, India, I don't think straight away you can get into wildlife conservation courses, but you can do zoology and slowly upgrade yourself. EWII, wildlife institute of India, but that goes into the masters.
Yeah, masters.
You can't do your bachelor's. Bachelor's, there are one or two colleges. I mean, I have a daughter who just passed out from class 12, so she wanted to do conservation biology, but unfortunately, there just one or two colleges which was more inclined to zoology than conservation. I mean, look, they're interrelated, no doubt, but certain things are different. Yeah. So, you probably the best way if you are in India itself, the best way is to get a zoology degree or maybe a botany degree also, and then slowly build up yourself, do your masters. And not everybody can get a doctorate, but everybody has a role to play. Go about it. And if you are somebody like me who has been trained in a different thing, you can do internship, you can do volunteer work, or you can get into an organization where I'm sure there will be some role for any one of you, which can actually contribute towards conservation.
So zoology, botany can get your foot in the door. And after that, you figure.
Yeah, if you want to become a scientist, conservation biologist, or a field biologist, yes. But other walks of people also, you can manage. I mean, if you're if India is being headed by a banker, it's one of the largest servicing. It's been headed by a banker. He doesn't have any formal training of wildlife conservation, but he's heading one of the largest and one of the most outgoing and effective wildlife conservation agencies in India. So something like that. And then you have, I don't know whether you've heard about the gentleman who is Kothari. He's a financial guy. He has Conservation Society. He has this CS. He has this his NGO or other foundation where he pumps in his money and does benevolent work. So you can get it there. I don't know. Pardon?
Ullas.
Ullas. Ullas.
It was an engineer.
I'm from a business background, and my education was completely different.
So what I did is I searched. I was in college engineering, totally bored with my course. Yeah. Okay.
And this is for for the guys who are who did not think to zero protein and want to change their profession.
I got these two institutes. One was in Valley, Wildlife Engineering in India. The other was in Bangalore. It was called Tukka, National Center for Sciences, Biosciences, NCBS. So these two centers, they hold their exams every other year. Like 1 year is a Guwahati, the other year is NCBS for the master's course. And they take entries from all fields. Like you can be an engineer graduate, you can apply for the course. So I cracked the
exam at NCBS, but my problem was like I didn't know enough big scientists to give a reference.
Oh,
so
okay.
They didn't even
you need to go guys.
Call for the interview. I was totally rejected. So then I started going to the field and volunteers, and I realized that it was like a big game. Like the main decisions were made at the center, at the institutes, but we have to go through enough like education and research to know like all the things that were happening. So I felt like at a very lower level, like doing small job. I didn't get the whole picture. Kind of like I was like disillusioned.
No, I mean that's a very unfortunate incident that you experienced. Usually, things are better than this. Probably, it was it's not your day.
Yeah.
Or your phase of life is not correct for you. It happens. We also go through even now. Sometimes things don't happen. It just don't happen. But that shouldn't deter you actually.
So poaching activities is it increasing in Assam than before, or is it decreasing?
I think the poaching activities in Assam has been controlled to quite a large extent. We had a time when good number of rhinos and all were being killed, poached. But now the numbers have come down. Even you're following the newspapers. So government has become proactive. But I am more worried about rhinos in Assam will survive. Like when you say poaching in Assam, it's basically related to rhinos. Rhinos, unless there's a catastrophe in terms of a disease outbreak or maybe environmental issues, rhinos won't be wiped out from Assam. Rhinos will stay in Assam. But what will not stay in Assam is what I'm worried about, elephants. Because the way the elephants are dying, of unnatural causes, like last 2 years, we have had over 200 elephant deaths. And a high number of human deaths also due to conflicts. And so this is one situation that, we need to actually get a grip on. I personally feel that somewhere down the line we are slipping.
So, unnatural causes of karone, is it mainly?
Basically, it's conflict. Okay. No, if a conflict or if you kill an animal, it's poaching.
Oh yeah.
You kill an animal.
So
you can prosecute poaching. Yeah, the prevalent acts, provisions in the Wildlife Act to poaching can actually be, because you have hunted down, you kill an animal. At the end of the day, you've killed, right?
Yeah.
You put a live wire, you poison the elephant, you have put you electrocute the elephant, and these are all poaching. So, in the end of the day, it amounts to poaching. Rhino poaching has definitely come down, all thanks to the state machinery and also the stakeholders who have been very pragmatic about handling the issue and going about doing things how they should have been done. So
what do you think is the most important factor that has helped to reduce rhino poaching? Is it activities of people and proactiveness of police aside? Has there been some radical ideas?
Anything. If you see, if you there's a word in English known as a holistic approach. You have to. A problem is there. Sometimes a single solution doesn't work. So multifarious action, multifarious activities come in, and then you come to a common goal, conclusion that drop and about it. So I feel that has happened in terms of conservation of rhinos in Assam right now. I mean, not probably actually we are doing things the right way. I mean, we can't police or conservation of rhino. I mean, ঠিকই কাম করছে এখানতে সবাই এতিয়ালৈকে যিখিনি ৰাইনো পোচিং ট্ৰেইনিংটো বহুত কমি আহিছে পোচিং থাকিবই তেতিয়ালৈকে ডিমাণ্ড থাকিব ছাপ্লাইটো অকণমান হ'বই আৰু সেই ছাপ্লাইটোতো কমপ্লিটলি আমি নিগেট কৰিব নোৱাৰোঁ আমি এইটো কৰিব নোৱাৰোঁ ক'ৰবাত কেতিয়াবা জিৰ' পোচিং হৈ যাব দ্য শ্বিয়ৰ লাক এণ্ড ইভেন ইফ ইউ হেভ the poaching any animal that is something to be worried about but sometimes things happen for whatever reason. I mean, look, even we have one of the best armies in the world. We still get hit, right?
True.
Same thing here.
I agree.
But it is at what level we are getting hit, and at what percentage we are keeping, the casualties like that. Right? So poaching is not acceptable standard.
Absolutely not.
নহলে খুব ভাল আৰু যিখিনি লোকে আমি কন্ট্ৰোল কৰিব পাৰিছো আমি বহুতখিনি কন্ট্ৰোল কৰিছো we have come a long way and this is basically good officers মই কিছুমানৰ নামে লৈ দিম ৰোহিণী শইকীয়া he's done a wonderful job তাৰ আগত শ্ৰীশৰ্মা আছিল সুভাষিস দাস আছিল এইবিলাকে মিলি পেলাই বহুতখিনি কোচিং কমাবলৈ হেৰি কৰিলে প্লাছ আমাৰ পুলিচ কিন্তু আজি লাষ্ট 4-5 বছৰ মানৰ পৰা স্পেচিয়েলি ৱেন আমাৰ ডিজিপি এজন আছিল জয়ন্ত নাৰায়ণ চৌধুৰী বুলি তেখেতৰ দিনাখনৰ পৰা পুলিচ বিকেম ভেৰি এক্টিভ ইন পোচিং আগতে ৱাইল্ড লাইফ ক্ৰাইমটো একচুৱেলি পুলিচ had a lot of had much more in their plate that they could handle but when they were prioritizing this was one thing that was prioritized and police came hammer and tongs on poachers so poaching has come down.
So I think we'll stop for today again.
Right. Thank you. Pleasure.
So we'll meet another time.
Sure.
Okay.